gonna see how this works. I figured I'd come live a little bit early just to see. Ooh, I don't know if I can wear my glasses. I guess. Because you can see my computer in them, and that's gonna drive me crazy. But then I can't really see there, so I guess we'll just have to see what happens. I never have to do my live this way. I usually do it on my phone. So it's kind of weird because I've got a camera and I've got my computer, and I was trying to do a picture, my thumbnail, and that wasn't working. And then I realized it's because I had my webcam that's attached to my laptop and not my actual webcam. And so if you see me looking here and not up here, it's because I'm just, that's probably going to go in and out 1,000 times. So I just apologize ahead of time. I will figure out this whole camera thing. Hi, Amy. Just popping in before work. Well, thanks, girl, for popping in and saying hey. So yeah, if this is be the first one. Good morning, little Miss Witchy. A whole lot, but I move a lot. We'll just see. Hi, Jen. How are ya? So yeah, I figured I'd come on here a little bit early and kind of get all the kinks worked out. My husband is supposed to watch me upstairs to make sure he can hear me. So I'm going to text him. Oh, he's texting. See if he can actually hear me and what I look like and if everything looks okay. Oh, he's writing a lot. Lovely. So how is everyone this morning? You guys super excited to review our bookies? I am excited. Oh, here he goes. Looks pretty good. I can hear you, but you can see the focus come in and out like you said. Yeah, that's annoying as all hell. And I'm not quite sure why it does that. And I don't really know if there's a way to fix it to make it like not autofocus. To make it not go in and out like that. Oh, there's 5 people here. I'm kind of excited. I figured there weren't going to be that many. So, yay. I see where that is. Sorry, guys. Like I said, excited but tired. It's early in Alberta. Oh, I'm sorry. You probably have to play with the settings. Yeah, before I went live, I was able to play with the settings, but now that I'm live, it lets me mute my microphone, but it doesn't. There's like no settings to speak of for the camera. So I apologize for this first month. Like I said, we may be getting a different camera for next month. I might be able to play with the settings a little bit. So we'll just kind of have to see what happens. But I'm really excited that we're able to go live on this channel because that was my goal, is I wanted to be able to move all my bookish stuff to here. And if we weren't going to be able to do live chats, then that was going to severely hinder that. So I loved your Organize My Books video. I'm so like that. I'm glad. I figured there weren't going to be very many people that were going to watch 2 hours of basically nothing. So thank you for that. That's okay. I finally remembered to set my alarm to be here. How early is it there? I know one of the other ladies, Jennifer, that I don't know if she'll be here or not. She sent me a message last night and she's like, girl, 10 a.m. your time is 7 a.m. my time on a Sunday. And I was like, that's the time I always do them. I'm sorry. I just feel like I like doing morning coffee chats with books because then I can have coffee with my Aries mug and we can all hang out and it's 8. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to give it one more minute and then we're going to officially start. And as people trickle in as they trickle in and see how, maybe I'll sit like this because every time I move, the fucking camera moves. So I apologize. And we all know I'm going to talk a lot because that's what I do on coffee. It's a great time. Great time. All right. 10 a.m. 10 a.m. Hey. All right. Here we go. Hey, guys. It's officially 10 a.m. Welcome to Pyperh Reads. And today we are going to be reviewing. What are we reviewing? We're reviewing the Ancient Magus Bride, Volumes 1 and 2. this was the first time, well, this was month 5, but this was the first time that we have done any kind of manga, however you want to say it, on this channel. And so I'm really excited to hear you guys' feedback, especially if there's some of you that haven't read manga before or you've read very little. Excuse me, to just kind of see what your thoughts are. Yeah, so let's get started. I'm pumped. So before I start, I guess I should ask, of the people that are here, how many of you are here just because you're excited to be here and you just want to hang out? And how many of you read this? Are there some of you here that have read this? Did you do your reading? Did you do your reading assignments? Because I figured we'd probably go over and do a little bit of a review. Or not kind of. We're going to review what happened in the books, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Okay, cool. Little Miss Richie read them. Anybody else read them? Or anybody else just here just cause we're hanging out? Okay. Little Miss Richie, sorry, just chilling today. That's all right. That's cool. Little Miss Richie, have you read manga before? Is that a form of book choice that you have read before, or was this the first time you've ever read manga? Okay, so let's get started. So book 1, The Ancient Magus Bride, book 1. Yeah, I've read Death Note. Okay, I've also read Death Note. Was the only other one that I read other than these, and so I'm not well versed by any means in manga. I like them. It's just really hard for me to find some that I think that I'm going to like. I think the other thing that I have an issue with manga is that, like, unless you go online, because I bought these first 2 from a bookstore, and I went online onto Thrift Books for the rest of the series, and I'm still missing like 2 of them. But they're expensive. They're $13, which is pretty normal priced for a book. But they're $13 and they don't take that long to get through. I read the second book in one sitting. So it's really hard to justify spending the money to have something that you're just going to like sit and read for an hour and then be done. But like I said, I did go onto Thrift Books and onto Book Outlet, and they had quite a few of them for quite a bit cheaper. And so I was able to get a lot of the other series. Plus, this series not only has 10 volumes, but it also has actual novels that go with the volumes, actually written out in normal book format, so that you can read along with the chapter. So you read a chapter and then you can go into the book and it can kind of explain more and fill in more of the details in case you think you missed anything. So let us start with book 1. And I got my little notes here because when I said, hey, we're going to read these, and you guys voted on them and we were really excited about it, I literally read them the 2 days following. So I haven't picked these up for a month. So I got my little notes here to go back on. And the other thing about manga is I feel like they kind of meld together. So when I was writing out my notes, things that I thought happened in the second book were actually still in the first book. So I got my notes here to help. Okay, so I'm going to try to do a quick little overview so that we get the main points of what happened, in case, you guys read it and you didn't quite understand, or it's been a while. So you've got Chai's Hattori. She is a 15-year-old orphan who was sold at an auction. She was purchased by Elias Ainsworth, who is a horned/skull-faced sorcerer of sorts. And you don't really realize it from the beginning. You notice that something's not quite right at the auction, but he comes in and kind of crashes the auction. People haven't seen him. He's not somebody that comes around very often. They were like aghast when he came in. He came in, he put down his money. He was like, here's 5,000. I'm taking her, and left. So there was kind of like a little bit of a tiff at the auction house to begin with. I enjoyed the magical creatures. I kind of wish there was a bit more of that. I think Elias is kind of creepy. I'm not sure what to think of him. He wants to marry Chais, and she seems like she's 12. Yes, I she did seem really young, which I also think with a lot of these books that manga in general seems to make their characters very young or look very young. 15 is still pretty young. I really liked Elias, and I think it's just like that mysterious sorcerer. He has like this emotionless skull, but reading through the books, he really did have a lot of emotion to him. We don't really know how old he is. We're figuring he's like ancient because, well, ancient magus, but just because him being a sorcerer, it seems like he's lived a long time. But yeah, I can see the creep factor, but I wish that she was a little bit older. But I did really like Elias's character. So, okay, so yep, he purchased her, and as she comes to realize, Jennifer's here. She just woke up. I was just saying, Jennifer, I was like, I'll be surprised if you're here because I know you said to me last night that it's early on a Sunday, and I don't blame you for not wanting to get up on a Sunday. So we're just starting to go over volume 1. We just talked about Chai's a little bit and the beginning with the auction house. Okay, so then she realizes, okay, she's being purchased as an apprentice and she's being purchased to be Elias's bride. And she's like, excuse me, what? So you come to realize throughout the books that Chais is a sleigh beggy, which we come to find out is a human that has like a well of magic inside of them. As when they go to Angelica a little bit later, they come to realize is a little bit more important than what we initially thought. Your sound is going in and out. Can you guys hear me? It may be. Just let me know. I'm not sure it's just me, but the sound keeps going in and out. Okay, yep, both of you. Can you guys hear me now? Is it good? Can you hear me? Off and on. Fuck. I was just saying earlier, I came on early to try to make sure that everybody can hear me okay. And it's just really hard because I'm not used to doing it on this setup. I'm always used to doing it on my phone. So is it good now? Is it going okay? Is it working? Maybe. Possibly. I'm going to text my husband, see if he can jump on too. You can hear me now? Okay. You can hear me. Okay. Just let me know if things, because like I said, I'm hoping to get a new camera. My laptop's a little bit old. But Hayden, hey! But I wasn't able to. Jen tried to show me an app, but it literally wouldn't let me with the new YouTube update. It wouldn't let me use any kind of outsourcing app on my phone. So this is kind of what I'm stuck with until I figure out if I can get new equipment. Because I don't think I'm going to be reaching 1,000 subscribers anytime soon on here. So we're going to have a bit. Okay. So the first book, a lot of this first book is that is about Chais and her Chais. I just say Chais. Her realizing that Kevin said it cuts out when it focuses. Lovely. It's about her realizing that she does have life worth living. You know, at the beginning, she's very downtrodden. She's very, she doesn't really care if she lives or dies. You know, her family abandoned her. She was orphaned. A lot of because of the reason, you know, because that she's a sleigh beggy and she has these magical abilities that nobody understands. So she is pretty down on herself. So a lot of this first book is her realizing that life is worth living. She does have a home with Elias, and she doesn't really care what he chooses to do with her because she pretty much chose death before this anyway. So anything that she's doing here is better than being dead. Your connection is unstable. Please wait while we try reconnecting. Are y'all still here? Okay, there it went. It said that it lost me. This is going to be a pain in my dick. Month? No. I'm here. Next month, I will fix it. Okay? I will. I'll fix it. I don't care if I have to go to a different room in the house. If I have to be closer to something. If I got to get a new camera, I'm going to fucking fix it. Okay? I apologize. So Elias is very welcoming. He's strange. The whole house is strange. You know, he literally whisks her up and takes her away in this magical portal to drop her in this very charming little, you know, northern England home. This little like cobblestone. It's just like adorable. But you know, it is a very welcoming home, and she's welcomed by the Fae, which is another thing about her, is because she's a slay beggy, the Fae realm is completely entranced and drawn to her, and so there's Fae kind of all over the place all the time. So after the first little bit, you know, she kind of wanders off. She almost gets taken to the Fae realm. You know, he's like, hey, you're gonna want to listen to me because there's a lot of creatures out here that are gonna want you. So he ends up taking her to Angelica, who is a magical technician. And she is going to help try to see what kind of magical abilities she holds. But the main reason he's taking her there is to have her create a few things for him. One of them being a way to limit her power, because they realize that Chais has so much power that every time she uses it, it's just sucking her life energy. So she has very, very little time to actually live because of the amount of magic that is inside her. So he wants to kind of put a cap on it and keep it limited so that it can help to extend her life. Then Chais is taken by Lyndall, which is kind of a little random offshoot thing. That's the one thing about these books, is like things just will randomly happen. You're just like doing something and then like this random little thing happens. Where Lyndall is an old friend of Elias's, and he's the guardian at the Sanctuary of the Dragons. She meets one of these super, super old dragons. He kind of talks to her. She sees one of his memories, and then he passes away. And so it was a really sweet little side step, and then they come back from that. So, you know, you kind of got to go with the story, because they just, it definitely throws you. You're like, oh, okay, we're over with the dragons. Okay, we're not with the dragons anymore. I love Angelica. She has an attitude is like, Elias, hands off. She's too young. I did love Angelica for that. You know, she was very, very protective of Chais, and I really appreciated that. Even though I really like Elias, I loved Angelica's personality. The dragon part was my favorite in the first book. It was, and it was a really, really sweet scene with the guardian, the dragon that she kind of befriended for a second. And I think when he was done, like, he turned into a tree, and she promised to take a branch and turn it into a staff. So it was a very sweet moment in time there with the dragons, and I did appreciate it. Although, like I said, when you're reading it, you're like, I'm not quite sure what we're doing here, but it's fine. You know, you kind of have to. Okay. I also didn't realize for a long time a lot of these men that are in the books are men, because they look so much like women. You know, like Lyndall looked like a woman, and I'm like, who is this? And I was like, oh, this is a man. Okay, cool. The majority of the men in here look like women, and until you start listening and reading and hearing names, you're like, oh shit, that's a man. So then after they come back from the dragon sanctuary, the church sends them on a mission to the cat kingdom. So there is a kingdom of cats, okay? And this was to rid of stagnation. Now, a stagnation is a soul that cannot leave the earth, and so it kind of becomes this little blight that like sucks everything in and needs to be dissipated. I know this manga is very divisive with people. Some love it and some think it's real problematic. Yeah, I really do have to say that, you know, I guess I'll wait. I'll give my opinions at the end. But So this is kind of the end of the first book because, you know, they show up to rid the kingdom of this cat kingdom of this soul, this stagnation. They want to go there and purify it. Chais says that she wants to erase the soul after hearing this strange voice that came to her, and then she was pushed into a lake. And after being almost drowned and hearing voices from that, you know, then she's saved. And at the ending, they were tasked with the purification, and then two figures hold her at knife point. And that's kind of the end of what we come to. I loved the Cat Kingdom. I did. I really liked the Cat Kingdom. I loved the Cat King. I really did find that this first book, you know, I think, first of all, when I started reading it, I realized I was reading it the wrong way. I was reading it right like this way, but I was reading it from left to right instead of right to left. So I was like, what the fuck? Nothing's really making a whole lot of sense. But once I actually started reading it, it only took me 2 sittings to finish it. And I did really find that the characters were endearing. I thought that Chais was adorable. I really, really liked Elias a lot, but he's kind of like a trope of mine. I mean, you've got like this dark, mysterious sorcerer type guy. You don't know if he's good. You don't know if he's bad. You don't know his intentions. But, you know, he really does seem to care for her. He seems to show a lot of emotion, even with this emotionless skull that he has on him all the time. You know, the book and the illustrations are really good at being able to show his emotions. You know, I loved Angelica, like you guys said. I thought that was fun. And I thought that the protectiveness of her and being like, yeah, like you guys said, hands off, too young, back up, sir, was awesome. You know, I thought that there were parts in there that were really emotional, you know, like with the dragons, and even more so in the next book, you know, the emotions that just illustrations and speech bubbles were able to evoke were amazing. I thought the cats added a bit of humor, which I enjoyed. Yeah, absolutely. I did too. So that was book 1. So book 1, you guys seems that you guys kind of liked it. Were you guys, after book 1, were you guys excited to get to book 2? Because I know the way that it ended, I was very excited to pick up book 2. You know, especially it's like you've got this big old nasty stagnation and her standing there like, supposedly I have these magical powers and I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do with them, but here we go. We're going to try this. I really like the afterwords and the forewords. I think that they're cute and they're fun. They just add a little bit of layer of humor. Yeah, Jen, yes, very much. I was excited to get to the next one. So book 2. Book 2 was a lot darker, I felt like. Yes, I liked the books, and the cliffhanger at the end made me want to see what happened. I really felt like I flew through book 2. And the only reason I haven't continued on with the rest of the series is because I know I fly through them so fast. And I'm missing book 4 and 6 or 4 and 8. And so I'm like, I want to have book like 3, 4, 5 at the ready because I know I fly through them. So I have book 3, but I don't have book 4 yet. And the end of this book left us, I mean, they all kind of leave you on a cliffhanger, which I think is pretty fun. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna keep reading it until I have the 4th book. So I was kind of waiting for that too, because they have a lot of them on Book Outlet for like $4 a piece. So I got all of them that I could, and then they added a few more, so I picked those up. Was it Book Outlet? Yeah, it was Book Outlet, and then there was a couple on Thrift Books, and so I'm literally missing 2. So I haven't finished it yet. I really love the art. That's the thing with manga and even Western comics. Good art really enhances the reading experience, where bad art can ruin it. Absolutely. Like I said, I really, really enjoyed seeing Elias's facial expressions, even with an expressionless skull. It really, you know, the art style is beautiful. and it was beautifully done. And the covers, good God, like the covers of these books are just beautiful. But yeah, I very much so enjoyed the world. Okay. Book 2. Probably. It's probably not smart to put coffee on my computer. Okay. Volume 2. So you have like the little prequel, the little bit of the beginning where Chais is being warned by Renfred that Elias is using her. You're being used. He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about your past. All he cares about is using you as an experiment because you're an extremely powerful slave baggy. And Chais was basically like, I don't care. You know, he can use me for whatever he wants. He can use me as his tool. I'm all his. I don't care. And that was kind of like a little bit of an emotional moment, and just to be like, okay, well, is that her really caring for Elias, or is that her realizing that she now has this purpose and she'd rather be doing that than dead? So that was kind of a little dang, they have a lot on eBay, I'm considering. No sound. Can y'all hear me now? Oh, I muted myself, so that was me. Can y'all hear me? We good? How we doing? Good. Okay. I'm gonna put my thing down here. Okay. So after she's warned, still very quiet. I wonder if like I can put this up at all. Oops. I don't think this is gonna help. It's not. I noticed. I don't know. I don't know. And I don't have a microphone. Otherwise, I would be able to plug in an external microphone. Maybe I'll have to look at that for next time. Um, I will. I'll fix it. I promise you guys. There's only a couple of you here to begin with anyway. But I will. I'll fix it. I'll fix all the things for next month, okay? It'll be much better, I swear. Okay, so now after like Renfred goes through and he talks to her about all this, the purification continues. So this is where shit gets super dark in the rest of this book. You know, Chais is transported into this memory of a husband and wife, Mina and Matthew. Mina is very, very ill, and so Matthew, sorry. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, never mind. I was all excited. I was thinking maybe I could manage. Oh, I can manage it. Hang on a minute. Hold, please. Oh, no, I can't. Balls. Never mind. Okay. So Matthew heads out to find this magician to be able to heal her. The magician gives Matthew everything that he needs for him to create his own potion for her. So Mina one day gets out of bed, goes to the shed, and finds Matthew in there with all of these dead cats that are hanging from the ceiling. Um, and they were killed. I mean, they're killed under the order of the magician, because the magician is like, you need to kill all these cats in order to make this potion. She is absolutely horrified. Yes, like Jennifer said. Sorry, that was heart wrenching. It was absolutely heart wrenching. And when I saw that, and you could act like they had the visual of the cats hanging, you're just like, okay, this got dark really fast. You know, Mina came in. She's absolutely horrified. The potion, the healing potion that was supposed to heal her, ends up melting his wife. So he goes into this rage, and he's leaving the shed to go start murdering all of these cats. And the cats are waiting for him outside of the barn to retaliate over him killing all of their brethren that are inside the shed. And they start to devour him, they start eating him. And then they appoint one of them as the Cat King to reside over the soul of Matthew. Super fucked up. Like the whole thing was just like, so you can absolutely see how this created this stagnation. So then Mina's soul, who was melted, like she was fucking melted, her soul and Matthew's soul combines in this just like horrid, dark mass to create this stagnation, which is what Chais and Elias were set out to purify. Chais comes back from this memory after seeing exactly what happens, and she doesn't want to erase the souls because they're hurting. Their soul, they're so full of sorrow and anguish, and she's like, I don't want to just erase these souls off the face of the earth. They didn't do anything wrong. So what they were gonna do is this Cat King was like, all right, well, when I'm on my ninth lives, on my ninth life, I will take them, upon my ninth life ending, I will take them, and take them with me, basically, to like the Neverland, or I will take them to the great beyond and help them to move on. Instead, Chais uses dandelions as like this vision and imagines, that she basically whisks them away herself by imagining, blowing the petals of dandelion away into the wind. And so she does this spell on her own to get rid of them. Well, the spell used a shit ton of magic, because she's just this just this pool of magic. And it puts her to sleep for months. So at this time, I believe it was spring, early summer. It's now autumn in this next chapter. Titania, she's a fairy queen. She hears of the marriage between Chais and Elias, and so she comes to visit, kind of see, wow, I haven't really heard anything about Elias in a while, and all of a sudden he's getting married. I need to go check this shit out. So she shows up, and her husband, Oberon, is already like face to face with this sleeping Chais. And so after them kind of bickering back and forth a little bit, which I really, really enjoyed, the fairy queen and her husband, I thought that her husband was like a dumb oaf, but they were so fun to see the banter between them back and forth. I had a really good time reading about them. He wakes Chais up with this spell, which while she was sleeping, Elias had her out, basically in like this tree hollow, because he said that nature will help to restore what was taken from her and all of the energy that was taken from her. I initially thought he was a kid. I did too. It was really hard. I actually reread the chapter between them. I reread the first couple pages a few times to realize, oh, this is the fairy queen. This is her husband, because he looks really young. I don't know if that's book one. I don't even know if I'd be able to find him, but he looks really young, and he's kind of messed up. Oh, this is one of the ones where I was like, he's a woman. Like, that's Oberon with the horns. And you're like, that's a woman. And then you're like, no, that's her husband. And then there's this cute little banter about, they're arguing over whether, how many kids they're going to have and when they're going to start having kids. And Chais and Elias are both like, all right, we're out. Because Chais is like, what? I just find out I'm supposed to be this guy's bride, and now we're talking about popping out kids? Like, okay, I'm done. I like that they look young because I think of fairies being eternally youthful. That does make sense. The young isn't what bothered me. It's not really that it bothered me, because I know that, Japanese culture, a lot of the animations that they do have feminine characteristics. They look very feminine. Their men always look very feminine. It's just hard when you're reading a book to be like, who is this woman? And then after a while, you're like, wow, okay, that's her husband. That is a man. Gotcha. Okay. But I do like that. That does make a lot of sense, you know, with a lot of the Fae in here looking like kids because you know they are eternally youthful. Okay, so then they return home, and then it's like no later do they return home. They're eating some friggin' Christmas pudding. They're like, yeah, we're good. They get a summons from the church, and the the summons from the church comes. The priest and Elias aren't really. They're kind of, you can tell the terms between them are very strained. Their relationship is strained. It seems like they really only come to each other when they absolutely have to. You can tell that the priest isn't really pumped about Elias's lifestyle and who he is and what he does, but he comes to him when he absolutely needs to. um, that's like Renfred assistant. I was confused the entire time about the gender and thought it was a guy, but it's a woman. Yes. Yeah, there was a lot of gender confusion until I started reading names and hearing him, her, his. I'm like, oh, okay. So the priest comes and is like, all right, we got some issues over here at the church. There's some nasty happenings. They found a dead body. There is this black dog, a grim. There's this black spirit dog that, you know, does what he can to. He chases away grave robbers. But there was a dead body found. So they're like, okay, was it the dog? Was it the is there this other spirit? Like, what is happening? Um, so they go there, they start to investigate. Elias leaves, tries on her own. She comes face to face with this spirit, and a not very nice one. And he starts asking her questions and is threatening to take her away and kidnap her. And this boy comes along, smashes the mask that the skull is wearing, and rids the mask that the spirit's wearing, and rids Chais of the spirit. Come to find out that the little boy is actually the Grim. And so the Grim can take two forms. It can take the form of a dog or it can take the form of a small boy. My dear, you have the Grim. Exactly. That's kind of what I thought when I read it. I was like, ooh, we got some Harry Potter in here. So, but the sad part is that the boy isn't quite yet um, understanding that he is a ghost and that he has, you know, that he's a spirit. So that's a little sad. Um, so he's yet to come to terms with it. And so then at the very end, you have this person, Alice, that appears, and then that's kind of it. It's like they bring her in. You're like, who the hell is that? And then fade out to be continued in the third book. So, all in all, I really enjoyed it. I actually think that I got more into the second book than I did the first one, which is great because that just bodes well for the rest of the series, I think. It's definitely a series that I wanted to continue. I'm glad that I didn't because I think that there's so much that happens in these short novels that I would have got everything really, really messed up and confused. And so I'm glad that I stuck with the first two books for now as far as this review goes. And then I will continue once I get book 4. I will continue with the rest of the series. Yeah, like Jen said, she said, I really love the second book. Little Miss Witchy, I thought it was a great twist that the Grim wasn't really a Grim, but the spirit of a dog that was killed with the lady who was killed in the graveyard, and he thought of his owner as his sister. It was a really amazing twist. You know, and that's the thing is like there's so much story packed into these short little books, and there's so much that you're able to draw out if you really dig deep enough with just these little speech bubbles and just illustrations. And it really kind of renewed my love for manga, and it you know made me excited to finish these and then to find other manga that I you know that I love just as much because I loved Death Note. I absolutely adored Death Note. And so these I really like and I'm really excited to continue. I think that the characters are really lovable. I just want to see Elias and Chais fall into this wonderful romance, but you don't really know if you know, you don't know if Renfred's right. You don't know if Chais, or if if Chais is being used, because I mean she kind of is, but you don't really know for what purpose, and if Elias really does care for her or if he's just using her. Um, I never thought I would like manga. Who knew? See, Jen, I was very interested to see, because you were like, I've never read it, but I'm going to try it. And I'm like, I'm excited to see some people that haven't read it to see if it's something that they're interested in. Because most people who say, yeah, that's not my thing, it's like, yeah, you're right. It may not be, but it may be, because if you've never read them, you really don't know until you don't realize how much story you can get out of not having, you know, written pages like you normally would. I hope that we get to explore more of the fairy realm. Yes, I think the fairy realm is going to be a big thing, especially with Chai's having that tie now being a sleigh beggy, and how much the fae are attracted to her. She's constantly fighting fairies off. She's got the two fairies that are around her like all the time, or one fairy. Anyway, they're around her all the time, and they're trying to always beckon her out into the woods. And so I think that we're gonna have, especially now that we saw the fairy queen showed up, I think that we're gonna have some books that dive a little bit deeper into the fairy realm. Okay, so if you guys have anything else to add, please do so. Otherwise, I'm gonna double check my voting right here and see. Whoop, whoop. All right, so the winner of the next book. Okay. The winner of the next book, in book number 6 in our book club. I think it's cute that they refer to the fairies as neighbors. I did really like that too. I like how much other realms are brought into things. It's like you had dragons, you've had spirits, we've had not so nice spirits, we've had fae. You know, I really think that a lot of creatures are going to show themselves in the next upcoming books. So month 6, we had a choice between Stolen Tongues, which is a horror novel, and The Diviners, which is more of a like paranormal mystery. And we had 12 votes for Stolen Tongues and 17 votes for The Diviners. So The Diviners by Libba Bray is going to be our book for month number 6. So you guys have from now until April 5th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So technically that's like 5 weeks. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it's kind of like, but it just is because the way that March is laid out. So it'll be April 5th. So it's a thick book. So we got a little bit extra reading time for this one. So basically with the Diviners, you have a young girl, she's not young adult named Evie, and she is going to live with her uncle in 1920s New York. The only thing about her uncle is that he is obsessed with the occult. And so she just doesn't want him to find out her secret, that she has this supernatural ability that we don't quite know what it is yet. But then a crime happens, somebody is murdered, and her uncle and Evie are called to the scene, and she realizes that she might be able to use her supernatural ability to help figure out who the murderer is. But once they start delving into this and finding ties to the occult and ties to the supernatural, something way darker and way more evil is revealed. So I am super excited to dive into the Diviners. It's something that I've wanted to read for a while. It is one of the favorite books from one of my favorite booktubers, Emma Books. She talked about this book a ton. It is the first in a series. So there's the Diviners, Layer of Dreams, and then there's 2 other ones behind that. The 4th book actually just came out. So we're going to give this one a go, and I am super pumped about it. I bought this at my bookstore for $15.99. They have them on Amazon for like $8.99. I have looked at like thrift books and book outlet, and I didn't see any copies as of yet. And if you guys like e-readers, you can buy this for $2.99 on the e-reader. And Natalie said recently it was on sale for 99¢. So it is very cheap as an ebook as well. So when I'm done with this, I'll put the link to what I can in the description. And I will see all of you guys on April 5th at 10 a.m., hopefully with a little bit better setup than this so that we can actually, communicate and you guys can hear me and I'm not constantly focusing in and out. And so we'll kind of see, maybe I'll actually have a microphone this time. So I hope that you guys have, hello, new sub here. Well, hi, Kim. How are you? Hopefully you join us for our next book month club thing, April 5th. Yeah, I'm excited to dive into this one. So am I. You order it today. Awesome. Yes. So like I said, Amazon, it's like $9, $8. E-readers, $3 or 99¢, depending on if it's still on sale. Yeah, looking forward to it. I am too. I just finished like a 900-page book, and it wasn't like my super cup of tea. So I'm really excited to kind of get back into more of like the paranormal, possible romance. I think there's a little bit of romance in it, but like the paranormal, mystery, magic stuff. I'm just really excited to kind of get back into some of that younger stuff. So anyway, thank you guys for hanging out with me over here on Pyperh Reads on my new channel. It's actually 100. I'm actually 100 pages in. It's good in my opinion. Oh, yay! I'm glad. Well, good. Sweet. Jen's already ahead of us. So cool. Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining me here on Pyperh Reads. Yeah, the last book I read. Not this one. This one is not 900. The last book I read was 900 pages. And it took me a long time to read it because it wasn't really my favesies. So I'm currently reading The Time Traveler's Wife too. Oh yeah, there's a lot of books that I'm excited about now. I want to read that one. I do want to still read Stolen Tongues, which I may read on my Kindle while I'm reading this one. Sarah J. Maas, who is the author of the Court of Thorn and Roses series. Her new book is coming out on Tuesday, and I have that pre-ordered, so that's coming. So I got lots of stuff. Plus, I want to keep reading these, so I'm still waiting for book 4 to show up on Book Outlet. Okay. All right. I love you guys dearly. I'm really excited for next month, so I will see you guys April 5th at 10 a.m. Eastern Time here on Pyperh Reads, and we will be discussing The Diviners by Libba Bray. Wow, The Diviners by Libba Bray, and hopefully I will have a new setup next time. So you guys have an awesome rest of your Sunday. Get some reading in, and I will see you soon. And I'll see you soon on here for new videos as well. Make sure you subscribe and like this video.